there are more ways than one to get the job done. Recruiting an Albion officer like Brielle here might be challenging, but it'll get you inside restricted Albion areas.
Don't mind me, just doing recon for a bunch of insurgents.
However, do anything suspicious and she'll probably wind up with a bullet in the back of her head.
You've been approved for entry.
We're missing the human element here. I can get the Defence Minister on the line right now.
Well, if you feel you must. Criminals running our streets. Illegals threatening our families. The police commissioner himself. Assassinated by terrorists.
Well, that seems to be enough evidence. Next up, we're crashing Mary Kelly's organ farming operation and putting a stop to it.
That's good.
The operation and putting a stop to it.
That's good. The buyers expect high quality stuff.
And we need a hard nut for this.
Impairing our frontal lobe again, are we?
Bags, don't disturb me in my natural habitat.
Say hello to Mickey. The man lives for his team.
I'd put another hair on my chest.
And doesn't mind getting his hands dirty.
Désolé à tous les gens.
Here's the bastard responsible. Done and dusted.
Not bad if I do say so, innit?
Not everyone in London is a legendary assassin or a super spy, but everyone can be a hero. So get out there, find the best recruits, and build your resistance. It's time to take back London.
Voilà.
Plunging the player into a living, breathing city teeming with unique locales and characters has always been a central pillar of the Watch Dogs series.
So what goes into building those worlds? Here's Amanda Munt to tell us more.
My name's Amanda Munt. I'm a level artist on Watch Dogs Legion at Ubisoft Toronto. Being a level artist, I think, is the coolest job in video games because we do get the freedom to kind of like pick and choose what little details we want to depict, and we get ample opportunities to tell the stories that we want to tell in the spaces that we're assigned to. I have the capacity to hide things and, like small little Easter eggs. In AC Unity, there was a boat somewhere in the world that was covered in cats. And then it happened again in Watch Dogs 2, and there may or may not be something in London that is a boat filled with cats in some capacity. So I was fortunate enough to go to E3 last year. Some of the people that I was showing our demo to were from London, so no matter where I dropped them in the city, they'd go, "Oh my God, this feels like Camden. This feels like Southwark. This feels like Westminster." When people are talking about some detail that I've put into the world and they're excited about it, like that feels so good as somebody who, builds these worlds with care. I love it.
Qu'est-ce qu'il y a du son? Maintenant, Brawlhalla.
And now some news for Brawlhalla fans. In just a few weeks, you'll be able to battle it out with your favorite legends on iOS and Android devices.
Three, two, one, brawl!
Là, je baisse un petit peu parce que sinon après on va pas forcément on va entendre des musiques et c'est pas ça que je veux vraiment. Donc voilà.
And now, whether you need a Tom Clancy action fix on the go, or want to dive back into one of the most beloved fantasy franchises in gaming, we've got you covered.
Ah, j'ai même pas... J'étais tellement concentré sur le jeu que j'ai même pas...
The target is being held on the ground floor.
C'est pas faux, on est stable.
Contact! Moan chain is down. Request air support. Target northeast rooftop.
Roger. Inbound. Danger close.
I need an EMP deployed now.
EMP imminent.
Get back in your cell! Hey, take this.
Don't make me regret this.
Speaking of Tom Clancy, it's been 5 years since Rainbow Six Siege first launched, and the community has never been stronger. In celebration of this milestone, Ubisoft Montreal has put together a special video to thank all of the amazing players and developers that have helped Siege become the game it is today.
In December 2015, a small team released Rainbow Six Siege. A game built on a strong vision, creativity, competitiveness, and team play.
Pour le joueur, le 1er décembre, c'est un début, mais pour nous aussi. Il faut tout de suite s'engager et dire aux joueurs, ce jeu est installé, tu peux t'y installer aussi, et nous serons là.
That original vision was quickly adopted by our passionate community, propelling it to a whole new level.
Oh my god! I got it! I got it!
This
This is such a special moment, and being at 1 year anniversary of Rainbow Six now, game being stronger than ever, more players today than we had in the past, it means the world to us.
But we also had our share of challenges.
Health that touches upon subjects like matchmaking, connectivity, all those aspects are absolutely critical to the experience of the player.
Through it all, we're always driven by you, our community, and together, we grow stronger.
There is no sequel plan, and we're here for the next 10 years, so expect more Rainbow Six in your life for quite some time.
Look at this.
Tous les succès, c'est vraiment le résultat de autant de nous que de vous. Ce jeu, il est autant le vôtre qu'il est le nôtre, nous, l'équipe de développement.
Now 60 million players strong, we're just getting started. From the devs that build the game to the community that plays it, thank you.
Donc voilà. Donc R6.
If you haven't tried it yet, dive into our new Operation Steel Wave update available now and take Ace and Malusi out for a spin.
A few days ago, we introduced y'all to a brand new multiplayer shooter. Now, it's time to venture into the Hyperscape.
Ouais, Hyperscape maintenant. Donc le fameux Battle Royale du coup de Ubisoft. Voilà.
What was that? A hack in a hyperscape. That's not supposed to be there. Let me get you all up to speed, okay? About 30 years ago, everything that we feared about our future started to come true. We made some good decisions. We made some bad decisions. Actually, we made a lot of bad decisions. So, here we are.
Des vaches avec des lunettes.
10 billion souls living in the thrush of the megacities. But the people at Prisma changed everything. They gave everyone a way out. The Hyperscape. In the Hyperscape, the biggest draw by far is Crown Rush. This is where anyone can become someone. If you get good at Crown Rush, it can change your life. But strange things have been happening lately. Rumors of people getting hurt. Users disappearing from the real world. A darker secret lies at the heart of Hyperscape. And we have to find it. Some of us are searching for a way up. Some of us for a way out. And for others, a new way altogether. That's what brings us to the edge of the future. To the Hyperscape.
I'm JC, Creative Director on Hyperscape.
JC's work on Far Cry Primal and multiple Prince of Persia titles has established him as a top creative here at Ubisoft.
For me, what's exciting is we started building it from scratch. Seeing it grow, adding ideas is really cool.
Hello, contender.
Welcome to the hyperscape.
The game takes place in 2054. It's in a future where humanity has grown a little darker. One of the companies there, they are launching what's called the hyperscape, which is a virtual world, the internet of the future. It's the place where everything converges. Within the virtual world, there is a battle royale that takes place in the virtual city of Neo Arcadia. Then we also introduce a lot of new things. You get the opportunity to do parkour on the rooftops, to go into interiors where it's much more narrow, much more stressful. You get to go to the landmarks where there's more opportunities to get cool items, but also more players, so it's a risk-reward kind of deal. We introduce the notion of hacks, special abilities that you can pick up on the fly to adapt your tactics. With hacks, you can do things like teleport yourself, you can wrap yourself into a ball and bounce around the battlefield. So a lot of abilities that let you have fun, that are toys that you can play with. And finally, it's made as a spectacle, so all the viewers will be able to interact with the game on different levels through the Twitch extension. So every few minutes, there's going to be a vote, and viewers will be able to decide what effect they want to affect the whole battle. So things like changing the gravity, infinite ammo, or stuff like that. So players, while this happens, really have to adapt to all kinds of stuff that is happening. So for me, it's really exciting because right now, as we speak, we are launching the open beta, and so it's going to be available for free-to-play for all PC players worldwide. And I really want to thank all the players, all the streamers, and all the viewers who participated in tech test and who will participate in the open beta. Here's a short glimpse of what you can expect.
Watch and learn how it's done. Perfecto.
Là je baisse le son parce que droit d'auteur, hein. Je pense qu'il y a des droits d'auteur sur Hyperscape. Donc voilà, donc je baisse. Donc après ceux qui ne soient pas là puissent voir le live. Et moi je baisse pas trop parce que sinon je vais pas entendre moi. Parce que moi j'ai je peux vous remettre
The digital world of the Hyperscape gave our artists and developers incredible freedom when it came to designing characters.
Production manager Ana Maria Musca is going to take us behind the scenes of character design.
My name is Ana Maria Musca. I'm the production manager for characters and weapons on Hyperscape. We have paid an exceptional amount of detail to our characters. We switch different outfits, different fashion statements, different tattoos, different materials until we see them as real individuals, as real people. So the second you pick a character, you see them in game, you understand what their motivations are and what drives them and what challenges them. This was the first lineup of characters. This is our default base, but even starting from the hair down, everything has been meticulously thought of. Would this person actually like this type of outfit? Would this person enjoy the type of tattoos that we're putting on them? Will they actually like to be in this body? Each season, we plan to produce new outfits for these characters. So we're hoping some of our players are gonna see the effort and maybe even correlate some of the accessories to what's gonna happen in the game. We're very excited to see it in people's hands.
Pour Hyperscape.
As we move into the next generation of gaming, Ubisoft has been working closely with console makers to take advantage of all the extraordinary capabilities these new consoles will offer.
Now we have a special guest to tell us a little more.
Hey everyone, Phil Spencer from Xbox. With Watch Dogs Legion, Ubisoft is supporting smart delivery. So you will get the absolute best version of the game on any version of Xbox you're playing on. DirectX, you'll get to take advantage of the amazing work the team has done with DirectX ray tracing to create an absolutely immersive version of London like you've never seen before. Ubisoft has a unique ability to create immersive worlds, setting a new bar that continues to drive our industry forward. I'm a huge fan of Assassin's Creed. I love the time I've spent exploring the world in Assassin's Creed Odyssey, and I can't wait for you to see the gameplay from Assassin's Creed Valhalla that's coming up now.
Alright, we know you've been waiting to hear more about this game since it was announced back in April. And now it's time for a deep dive into the world of Vikings.
My name is Julien Laferrière, and I'm the producer of Assassin's Creed Valhalla. So a couple of weeks ago, we announced Assassin's Creed Valhalla, and the reaction from the fans was just amazing. The time period of Vikings is really, really inspiring. When we did our research, we found that, they were not mindless barbarians. Vikings were actually farmers trying to find new lands for them to settle. And so they had really human motivations. So for us to have this opportunity to tell kind of the real story about Vikings and kind of separate ourselves from the myths and the folklore is really something that drove us to make this game. The team went to Norway and England to take the same roads that the Vikings did, to really experience what it meant to be a Viking at that time. And then leaving Norway, which is barren but majestic, and just coming by boat in England and see those rolling green hills full of sheep, full of life, is just this moment that most likely the Vikings felt as well. You need to see this land of opportunity. And this is exactly the feeling we want players to experience in this game. It is a personal adventure, it is the story of Eivor, a Viking chieftain. Eivor is either a male or a female. You decide when you start the game. They will have to leave Norway to settle in England because you just can't live in Norway anymore. There's too much political pressure, no resources available. Obviously in England, it's full of Anglo-Saxons and other people, and they don't really want you there. So you will have to fight your way there to kind of build your own settlement and see your clan prosper. Vikings were brutal warriors.
Shields!
And the fact that they were mastering a lot of weapons coming from the medieval times really inspired us to kind of revamp the fight system, to leverage the brutality and the intensity of Viking combat. Vikings were not only fighting face to face, they were masters of stealth and deception when needed. They used basically any sort of tactics they could use to win the battle. So we want to portray the full range of combat that you can imagine coming from the Vikings. We are very happy to finally be able to show you the game we've all been working on. So please enjoy this deep dive into Assassin's Creed Valhalla.
Ah yes, on dit l'original. Oui.
In Assassin's Creed Valhalla, you will relive the epic saga of the Viking invasion of England. You play as a Viking from Norway, who will lead his or her battle-hardened warriors across the North Sea to the British Isles. Eivor is driven by an ambitious goal to build a thriving Norse settlement in a hostile land.
For the good of our clan, it is time we go a Viking. Today we raid, that tomorrow we may build.
England is a dark age tangle of broken kingdoms and warring dynasties, a land of opportunity and riches. As you prowl England's rivers by Longship, you may raid locations you spot from the shoreline. Ground your ship and blow your horn to lead your raiding crew into battle. Your crew will assist you in all your raids, fighting enemies, battering down doors, and stealing cargo too heavy for one set of arms. Whatever riches and resources you pillage may be used to develop your settlement, giving you access to useful services, better tools, and new settlers. At the heart of your settlement is the Alliance map. It will serve as a record of the allies you have made, and a guide for future opportunities. The Viking Age was a time of warriors and legends. In Valhalla, you will find the largest variety of enemies ever assembled in an Assassin's Creed game. Every archetype offers a unique challenge. Some will coordinate with their allies for special attacks, while others will use nearby objects to their advantage, including the bodies of fallen warriors. To face these attacks, you must find and exploit your opponent's weaknesses to gain the upper hand. Take the fight to your foes with a host of brutal new combat abilities. Snare them with a Viking harpoon. Pummel them with throwing axes. Incapacitate them with the new stun system to keep them at a distance, or finish them off. Dual wield any two weapons you wish to unleash a deadly combination of attacks. Customize your fighting style as you see fit, and become a legendary Viking warrior. All combinations of weapons are available to dual wield, including two shields.
Quand t'as des armes tranchantes, tu peux casser le pied quasi.
Not all situations call for violence. In this new land, a Viking must find a way to adapt. As Eivor is not welcome in England, you may need to outsmart your enemies, avoiding unwanted attention in towns and bustling cities. Use Eivor's hood and cloak to blend with crowds, and slip past watchful eyes, an unseen hunter among the people. From capital cities and villages to the dense forests and rolling hills of England, exploration is vital to keeping yourself sharp. You must feed off the land if you hope to endure. Hunt and forage to replenish your health and fortify your equipment. Search pagan temples and Roman ruins for new activities and challenges to strengthen yourself and your settlement. The more you explore, the more of England's secrets you will reveal.
Ravens, show no mercy!
But as you push deeper into England, the enemy will push back. In a series of climactic moments, Assassin's Creed Valhalla will feature massive assaults in which you will lead Eivor's army into battle against heavily guarded Saxon fortresses.
Today, we will reclaim her. Today, we fight for your land. And tomorrow, we rebuild!
For Eastern.
Assassin's Creed Valhalla will transport you to wondrous and haunted lands, inspired by Norse myths and England's pagan roots. It will challenge and surprise, with unforgettable characters, thrilling triumphs, and tragic losses, giving you the chance to live your own Viking saga.
Passe pas. Après, il a l'air bien, c'est genre les expressions du visage et tout ça.
9th century England is truly unlike anything the franchise has seen before. Assassin's Creed Valhalla will release this holiday season on Xbox Series X, PlayStation 5, Xbox One, PS4, PC. Yeah.
We're close to wrapping up today, but before we go, our CEO, Yves Guillemot, is here to share a few words.
I hope you will have enjoyed what you have seen today, and that you will love playing these games. I am proud of our teams for delivering an ambitious, broad, and creative lineup of games. And we haven't shown you everything yet. In fact, we have a lot more to come. So you will have another Ubisoft Forward to reveal even more about our upcoming games. But before ending this show, we have one more thing to share with you.
Ah, ça veut dire c'est bon. Sinon il a dit, on a une dernière chose à vous montrer. C'est la dernière annonce. C'est déjà la dernière annonce. C'est Far Cry. Je crois que c'est Far Cry 6, non? Si. C'est ça parce que... Ouais, c'est ça. C'est Far Cry. Far Cry 6. Far Cry 6, c'est vrai. Il y a plus de doute que c'est pas Far Cry. C'est vraiment Far Cry ici.
Fuerzas ultrapenetrantes, estamos cansados de los farsantes, de los...
It's beautiful, amigo. Perfect, but useless. I have something for you, Diego. Give me your hands.
Papa.
Now, the grenade is simple. It has 4 basic parts. The shell, which contains the explosive, the fuse, the handle, and of course, the pin.
What are you doing?
Breathe, Diego. Breathe. The pin simply holds the handle in place. It is only when you let go that this grenade goes boom. Follow me. Now, I am El Presidente, which means that someday you will be El Presidente. And our people, they do not know how to be happy. They are torn apart by opinions, noise, indecision, strangled by their own freedoms. And even if you have love in your heart, even if you want what's best for them, if you only want to save them from themselves, they will hate you, Diego. Everything you say, do, believe, will be wrong. answer you with screams. Call you evil. A monster. And give you this. So you tell me, are you evil? And are you a monster? Because our country is like this grenade, except it has two basic parts. Our people and you must clutch them nice and tight, or we all go boom. You understand now? Prove it.
And with that, we're wrapping up our first Ubisoft Forward. Today, we've seen the next generation of Assassin's Creed, the birth of a resistance in Watch Dogs Legion, the cyber chaos of Hyperscape, and the epic reveal of Far Cry's newest installment, along with so much more.
Remember, we'll be back later this year with another Ubisoft Forward filled with tons of game news and updates.
Thanks for joining us.
Hey everyone, welcome to the Ubisoft Forward post-show. My name is Yusuf Magid, and this is Assassin's Creed Valhalla. We're going to take a deep dive into about 30 minutes of gameplay, and we're joined by a very special guest here.
Hey everyone, this is Philippe Bergeron, otherwise known as Fizz. I am the quest director on Assassin's Creed Valhalla.
So Fizz, we're setting up here for what looks like an epic encounter. Tell us exactly what's going on here.
Yeah, so here we're midway through the quest that we're showing for UB Forward. Here we're looking at the assault of Burg Castle. So these are big moments that usually sort of culminate at the end of the story. And so here Eivor, our Viking raider, is taking a group of raiders and Fyrds into Burg Castle to go and take down Rued and his clan.
So who exactly is Rued, and why does Eivor sort of want to pick a fight with him?
Basically, Rued comes into play about halfway through this story arc, where at the beginning of the arc, this is something that happens before, Rued basically caused a lot of turmoil within the territory, and Oswald, who's the sort of elderman to be to inherit this territory, needs your help to take him down. Oswald having just been defeated in a previous quest, and so here this is revenge, but also accomplishing your ultimate goal.
So Fizz, as you're talking, we're seeing some of the combat of Valhalla. Can you talk a little bit about the changes to combat this time around?
We wanted to basically add a lot of new mechanics to it. So we did like some dual wielding for the really needed to do this to portray that sort of Viking. The city just fits into that, the time and the character.
Celle-là. Moi, ni. Enfin, c'est ni. C'est moi. C'est moi.
Oswald, he lives. Oswald lives!
Eivor, is that you? Shut your ass, twig spine!
Here, Eivor has taken her entire army through the assault, and finally, it's revealed that our Elderman, our ally, Oswald, is still alive, and Rued has him captive.
So this is what it comes to, Wolfkist? 2 Danes fighting over a filthy Saxon whoreson? If this swine is your prize, come and get him!
So now that we've seen that Oswald is alive, we have Rued within our sights. What's the next step here?
So the next move for Eivor is to finally face off against Rued. She has her allies, they can take care of the rest of the army. Now it's time to go one-on-one against Rued in one of our boss battles, actually.
Your battle is not yet won, Oswald.
And it's worth pointing out, actually, that here what we're showing is the player going and facing off against Rued aggressively, but we tend to always have to support a 360-degree approach in these things. So the player could have approached us a little bit more stealthy and at least like a good critical hit on either Rued or his wolf, and so you can play this a little bit more strategically if that's your playstyle.
So we're not only fighting Rued's pet wolf, right?
One of my preferred strategies is to eliminate the wolf first, just focus fire on him. It takes at least one opponent out of the combat. Now Rued will have extra abilities that come into play if you do eliminate his wolf, but I think having one opponent less in the battlefield makes for a good strategy.
Efforts. Only the cold dark of Niflheim awaits you.
Valhalla is my destiny. That fate will not be met today. Why does they should be roomed, wolf-kissed? Made thralls, not treated equals. We are better than this. Than all of them.
Do not drag me down to the sewage you wallow in.
We just a Dane fight tooth and nail for a sanction. You'd throw in with these wastrels? These arrogant swine?
Eivor, no! He should be tried before God, a lawful assembly.
Alright, so we've defeated Rued, we've freed Oswald. What comes next?
Oswald, in this case, prefers for Rued to be kept alive, and so you basically have to choose, are you going to go against his wishes or stay true to your nature?
So we have this choice to make, but before we get into that, I want to rewind a little bit because we just did this big, grand assault, but Eivor couldn't have done it alone. She clearly had to recruit some folks along the way, get some troops, get some allies. So let's actually rewind and see how we went about first gathering those troops.
Right, so when coming up to an assault, it's a game of numbers. Eivor can go into pretty much any location and be a stealthy Viking, eliminating some of the assets, which ultimately would be a strategy. You can do that, and you'll have some of the ingredients or of the assets there that will have been sabotaged, but you still need an army. So here what we're seeing is Eivor going around the countryside and raising what we call a fyrd, which is the men and the women of the territory who come up and fight in the name of a king. So here Eivor going around and trying to convince people to finally take down the oppressor that is Rued.
Defending you.
What? Die in defense of a lost cause?
Yeah, so she's really using like the image and like the leadership that Oswald had, what he meant to the people in his name. She's going to recruit these people.
Pretty words, Dane. But the men of Theovard have their own battles to fight.
So we're told by this Reeve that there are troops, there are that he could add to our cause, but first we sort of need to do him a favor, is that right?
Yeah, so obviously these people have been run down by Rued and the impact he's had on the territory, so I think a lot of these people have sort of lost hope, and so you need to show them that there is hope. And so here Eivor is basically helping them take back one of their prized locations by taking a couple men and raiding a nearby township, basically taking it back for the people and showing that there's a reason to continue fighting and then get them on your side. When Eivor Eivor does this, obviously you have access to a full suite of abilities. So again, the improvements that we've done to the fight system. You have some brutal axe throwing in there. You have archery or like range combat abilities in there as well. So really, again, like depending on what your playstyle is, you can customize your loadout and go in there how you wish.
Fizz, we just saw this giant pulse go out. What exactly was that?
So that is what we call the Odin sight. The Odin sight is basically our interpretation of the eagle vision from previous games, and we thought it was good to sort of bring that back. It's basically Eivor's intuition. It's how she perceives the world. When the player uses that, it'll highlight basically interactive objects, like things that will bring her an advantage. So we'll have arrows, like health consumables that are in there. So it really is like a good way of sort of understanding the world and showing you like things that you can go and touch.
Yeah, I mean, speaking of things we can touch, we just picked up this awesome new weapon.
It's something we wanted to play with on Assassin's Creed Valhalla, where we have fewer weapons in the game, but you can invest in them more, so they become your weapon. And so depending what your preferred playstyle is or your preferred weapon type, then you can go and choose, I'm gonna fight with this weapon and invest heavily into that.
Not only are we looting weapons, but we see something here called the Book of Knowledge. Can you tell us a little bit more about that?
They unlock skills for the player. So here you can see the Valkyrie dive that has just been unlocked. We have these spread out throughout the world, so again, to promote exploration and discovery. As you travel through the world and you explore locations, you can find these books that will add abilities that you can go and invest in, put into your loadout, then go into the different locations with the different quests in the game and use those depending on what your playstyle is.
Now we've recaptured this village, we've secured more troops for our assault. Let's jump back now and figure out what we want to do with Rued.
The rightful king of East Anglia has spared your life today, and so it will be.
Compassion is a virtue suited for anyone, Eivor, including you. Thank you.
Eivor decided to let him live. Rued is that being a Norse Viking, being put to the death in battle is your road to Valhalla. So he was basically denied access to Valhalla in this situation. Obviously, all of these decisions come into play later on in the game, so we have very difficult decisions for the player to make. We didn't want to have easy decisions.
Yeah, you know, when I was playing, I decided to listen to Oswald and spare Rued's life, but what exactly is the relationship like between Eivor and Oswald?
So the relationship between Eivor and Oswald is an alliance. It's basically Eivor is surrounded by territories that initially getting into England are hostile towards her, and obviously if you want to set up a new settlement, you want to make sure that your neighbor is friendly. So here in East Anglia, Oswald is the man for the job, where putting him into a position of power would help her sort of secure her territory. So earlier on to the territory, Eivor comes in here, meets Oswald. The problems he had with Rued are sort of put to light, and going through the arc, you basically help him deal with Rued and aligning basically Danes with Saxons in one territory.
So, Fizz, we've completed the assault, we've gotten our hands dirty with some combat, taken down Rued. We have this big open region of East Anglia, so before we head off to Oswald's wedding, what do you say we head out, have some fun, and see what we can get into in the open world?
That sounds great.
So we see a cat here with a speech bubble above it, and you best believe if you let me talk to a cat, I'm gonna talk to a cat.
Yeah, these are some of our some of my favorite moments actually in the game, where we put out a whole bunch of events throughout the territory. And it sort of rewards, again, exploration, going around. It's a chance for us also to sort of showcase a different side of Eivor. A lot of the quests sort of deal more with like politics and warfare, and this shows a slightly more human nature to her. So it permits us to explore that character a little bit more. And so here, basically, like you're trying to help a kid with his cat, and ultimately get that cat to sort of join your crew as a cat raider.
You just said cat raider way too casually. You're telling me I could have a cat Viking raider on my longship?
That's exactly what I'm telling you.
Oh my god, yes, I love it. Perfect.
So yeah, as you're riding around the rivers of England, you would see a cat basically walking around your longship, keeping your Viking raiders company.
You know, speaking of the Viking Longship, we're seeing some of that gameplay here now. Can you talk a little bit about how that works and functions in Valhalla?
Yeah, so starting out on this project, I think the Viking Longship is one of the biggest images that we all have when we think about Vikings in our game. And so Vikings had this awesome design for Longship that had a very shallow hull, so it permitted them to go very far inland very quickly, and you could basically disembark Viking raiders like on pretty much any shore. We added that into the game where you can basically sail up to any location and then just decide to disembark with your guys and raid a location, loot all its treasure, get back in the ship, and then continue sailing down the river to your next opportunity.
So I know past Assassin's Creed games allowed for songs and things like that to be sung on ships. Will
Donc les gens, enfin le live, vous pouvez du coup continuer sur la chaîne Ubisoft ou autre, ou le revoir. En tout cas moi je dois vous laisser parce que voilà, parce que après je dois enchaîner, donc voilà. Donc salut et à la prochaine. Enfin, ou sinon vous pouvez me rejoindre bien évidemment sur le live sur le truc d'après, donc l'après live, voilà, sur Discord. Allez, au revoir.